Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Black Bolt, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Steven.
And Brandon is not here today. He has to work, and he has to work basically all day, so we wouldn't be able to do a record this today if we were going to wait on him, unfortunately. So we'll get back with him next week. But how is everyone doing today? How are you doing today, Steven?
Painting furiously.
Painting furiously. I like to hear that. Is that in anticipation of the upcoming tournament?
Yeah, well, my backlog got a little bit big, and I usually like to limit myself to 12 character models that are unassembled or in various stages of build, and I'm up to 23 now, so I gotta hack at the woods, basically.
Okay. Okay. How are you doing today, Brad?
Good. I've also got some painting done this weekend.
All of you are so productive. I am sick. All of you out there will probably be able to tell. You can probably hear it in my voice. Yeah. But I'm going to power through, and hopefully it won't be a problem. Okay. Let's move to... I don't think there's any AMG news that we need to... there's one minor thing. There's been a ruling on Sandman, and it seems like it's an early nerf, is that he cannot start with both grunts in play, which seems reasonable.
You say nerf, Fred, but like if you read the grunt rules, it's clear that that's how it should have worked.
Well, yeah, okay. They are clarifying because it also says you can only ever have one grunt out.
And his card does not counteract that. The deploy part. It counteracts the having them, but not the deploying them.
Okay, so that's the ruling, is that Sandman has to start with only one sand construct. I assume, in very all likelihood, he will use his first in his first action, take 2 damage and create a sand construct almost every time. But
Yeah, I believe if they didn't do such a ruling, that he would be the character taken 90% of the time with grunts.
Yeah.
Because having 2 on the board is a little bit stronger than just having 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
And everybody else brings just 1, right? So.
And I'm excited to put him down. I want to see him on the table. I want to see what he does. Okay. All right. That's it for AMG news. We have nothing else. It's kind of a dry spell. They did all their stuff at Adepticon. We have tournaments coming up. There is going to be a tournament on the 18th of May at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston. This is the BECC qualifier. It's the very first one. So if you can come down, you should come down. It'll be fun. We've already got a pretty good number who are signed up to come play. So get on over here. We need some players and get this BECC started with a bang. Okay. Other than that, there's Steven, do you want to give a plug to the YouTube channel that you wanted to plug? Monster Dice Studios?
Yes, Monster Dice Studios, run by my friend Dave DeVito. If you would like some battle report content that is MCP related, there's also 40K content there for a little bit of variety. But I would like to let the listeners know that very, very soon he's going to have on his channel, when they're available, the new Spider foes, and we'll be doing a battle report then. So please give a like and subscribe to him. It really helps him out, and be looking forward in the future to seeing that battle report. And it will be against Web Warriors with the new Gwenum and Ben Riley also.
Oh boy. Sounds fun. I can't wait to see it. All right. Well, we're going to move pretty quick, I think, this episode with uh, the stuff that we're covering. Let's do let's do a recalibration matrix. So sometimes we give a grade to a model, and we either don't take into full context their impact on the meta, or sometimes they get errated, or sometimes we're just plain wrong. And when that happens, we like to come back and do a recalibration on that character. Today's recalibration matrix is going to be focused on Darkstar. So we were weirdly up on this character when we did an episode on her. We gave her a B plus. Has anyone seen Darkstar outside of Winter Guard? And sometimes even in Winter Guard? I've played Winter Guard a couple times and they never took Darkstar. She is let me give some context to the listeners out there. She is a 3-threat model. She has a grand total of 10 health. Her defenses are 3/3/4 on both sides. And she doesn't she has a 3-cost reactive superpower that gives her or an allied character within range 3 targeted by energy or physical attacks an additional 2 dice. And they cannot be advanced, pushed, or placed by the effect, by an enemy effect of that attack. She is otherwise, that is all of her defensive tech. I think she's probably just gonna die, usually. I mean, everything dies in this game. That's saying that something is just gonna die is not really that strong of a statement, but you just never see Darkstar on the table. Is that because the meta is missing her, or is she not great? Brad, what are your thoughts here on Darkstar?
I was very excited for her when she came out, and gave her the highest grade when we graded her. And mostly that was to play her with Magneto. And I think her tools are pretty good in Magneto. But shortly after we did that episode, they spoiled Heimdall. And then I was like, no, I'm going to take Heimdall instead. And here's, I think, the problem. Is the stuff she does, now a lot more people can do. Like, giving other people defense dice is a lot more prevalent in the game now. And so is the teleport. Like, most people are taking someone like Sam for that. And I just, her unique tools aren't unique anymore.
Yeah. She has an energy attack gainer that it has a special rule that it may reroll all of the attack dice for this attack. Not you don't get to choose. You have to reroll all of them.
Yeah, not any.
So
Any's the word you were looking for.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Which is a cool little thing, but it also is mathematically, I mean, it'll fix your dice if you roll real bad, but mathematically you're likely to have at least a skull. Any skulls that you roll in that first die roll are stuck skulls.
Well, Fred, that would be true no matter which wording you used.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that, but what I mean is you don't get to keep the successes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's gonna, you're rolling, let's say you roll 5 dice at first and you get 1 skull and 1 hit, and you need 2 hits. You're only rolling 4 dice to get those 2 hits.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, Steven, what are your thoughts here on Darkstar?
Her problem is her power economy. That Dark Force Strike is a gainer 1, and her spender and both her superpowers cost 3. So if she's ignored, she's going to have a hard time affecting the battlefield and helping her friends. And that's basically what you do with her. You ignore her because then she's only going to get one superpower off per game at at least, and two at most.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, because she'll do nothing round one. She can't do anything. And round two, she can use the gainer once and do something. I don't know what. And then she has no power. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And
So
there's no way for her to get it because she can't like spike a builder roll and get 5 power. It's always only 1 power.
yeah, her power economy is just terrible, just terrible. And she had the Electra problem. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. And that's a character breaking problem.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if she just had that one little thing that Electra had, where if she does damage with an attack, she gets 1 power, that might make her playable in her own faction. I hardly see her in her own faction.
Yeah,
Even
I've
even
played
if it
a
was
couple games against people. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
even if it's reroll any, she gets a lot better. But you're right, power is a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her on the table I think once. And I think it was Brad playing her in Brotherhood of Mutants. And it was immediately after she came out.
It's she's a little bit better in Brotherhood because Magneto can feed her power.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
but if you're
still.
taking Magneto just to feed her power to turn
You-
her on, there's a problem there.
You're not taking her. You're not taking him to feed her. You're taking him, and she supports him. But that
Right, I
cycle goes
understand
in
that.
circles.
Yeah, I think that she's just not worth the investment. So we got to give her a new letter grade because we're talking quite down on her actually. I was coming in here thinking that I was going to drop her down into the C area. I think that I'm going to drop her to a C minus. Because you just never see her. She's never on the table, and if she is, it's just like Steven said, you just ignore her, and she doesn't do anything. Brad, what are you going to give her as a recalibration?
C plus.
C plus? Okay, and Steven, what are you going to give her?
D minus.
D minus. Holy guacamole. Okay.
D minus. She's almost as bad as Crossbones.
She just doesn't work. She doesn't. I don't know about that, man. I don't know if she's as bad as Crossbones. She has a medium move.
Yeah, but he has aggressive
Yeah.
and damage reduction if you pay for it.
He has to get attacked for either of those to be relevant. You just ignore him too.
Exactly. Ignorable characters, right?
Yeah, they're ignorable. All right. So that is our recalibration matrix on Darkstar. She's bad. I think she's bad. Okay.
But
Brad.
Fred, what is the aggregate recalibration?
We got a C plus, a C minus, and a D minus. I think that aggregates to a D plus.
I would
I
say
might
a
be
C
wrong.
minus.
It's right in that gap.
Yeah.
It's right there. Alrighty, so that's Darkstar for you. All right, let's move on to. I think it's Brad's favorite game. It's the game where Brad loves to move the goalposts. It's Fred knows nothing about trivia.
Okay. How many points do I normally say?
Well, I mean, you've changed it every time.
You never let me change it. What did I say last time? Was it 7?
All right, last time you said it was 8 to win, and we got 9 points. The time before that, you said it was 7 points to win, and we got 7 points exactly.
We'll stick with 7 then. You okay with 7?
Or just the two of us on our team this time.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask Fred a trivia question. If he gets it right, he gets 3 points. Then I'm going to give him a hint. And if he gets it after the hint, he gets 2 points. And then if he didn't get it right then, Steven can come in to answer the question for 1 point for the team. Fred wins. What?
Fred, did you notice our points went down from 4, 3, 2?
Yeah. It's the goal post moving.
This is last time we were missing Brandon. This is what I did.
I know, and it was only 6 points to win then.
Okay, 7 points to win.
Okay.
You ready, Fred?
Yeah.
Any questions? Great. During a war, this character sustained an injury that led to him losing his legs.
During a war, this character suffered an injury that resulted in him losing his legs?
Yes.
During a war. It's losing his physical legs, not losing access. Like, his legs are gone. It's not like they're there, but they don't work. Okay.
From the knees down. I will not tell you the war, though, until after.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm gonna say Professor Xavier, even though I know it's wrong.
Okay, your hint, because that obviously is wrong. This character bullied Peter Parker in high school.
Oh, is it Agent Venom?
That is correct for 2 points. Good job, Fred.
Okay. The hint got me there. What's his name? Flash something?
Flash Thompson.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah. Well, the answer for the people at home, the answer is a character that is in Marvel Crisis Protocol. So Agent Venom, completely acceptable.
Okay.
You do not need to know his real first name or his real name. Very good knowing that, though, Fred. I'm impressed. You ready for question number 2? Awesome. This man pretended to be his own bodyguard for a surprisingly long time.
Pretended to be his own bodyguard. I got no idea. Is it Kingpin?
That is incorrect. I also forgot to tell you that it was the Iraq War from question number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Your hint. This character has mostly worked as... Oh, sorry. That's the wrong... One of this character's main comic villains is well known for his jewelry.
Main comic villains is known for his jewelry?
Yep.
Nothing. I've got nothing.
Nothing, really?
Nothing.
This is a good hint.
I'm sure it is, and when you say what the answer is, I'll know exactly what you're in reference to, but I have no idea off the top of my head. So I'm gonna say so there is another piece of that hint that's valuable in that it sounded as if the person is a good guy and not a villain. The person I'm trying to determine. I don't know. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna just say pass.
No, you have to guess someone, Fred, because you may get it right.
Guess somebody.
You may get it right randomly.
I'm hemming and hawing too much. I don't know the answer.
Okay, Steven, do you know the answer?
I don't, but I'm going to take a guess. Is it Moon Knight?
It is not Moon Knight.
Oh, darn.
Okay. So, this person, when they were pretending to be their bodyguard, anytime something dangerous happened, they would duck out and then they'd come back in costume. He did this against his foe, who had 10 powerful rings on his fingers.
Oh, I know who it is now.
Okay, Steven, who is it?
I think I know it. The 10 rings is referring to the Mandarin, right?
The Mandarin, who is
so it's Iron Man.
Yes, who's a Iron Man villain. You didn't know that, Fred?
Wait, so it's Iron Man?
It's Iron Man. It's Tony Stark. Tony Stark would, like, when he was in danger, he'd, like, duck out of the room and then come back as Iron Man. And sometimes he had Rhodey dress up in the Iron Man suit so that they could be seen in the same room together. But most of the time...
So this, I had no idea about this. My experience of Iron Man is with the movies.
Uh-huh.
And in the movie...
Oh, we lost Fred.
Yes, we did.
Fred, if you can hear us, you're gone. And I can't ask my next question if Fred's not here.
True. Maybe he did that just to throw the game,
Oh, he was almost here for a second.
Almost.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I knocked my mic out of socket. Okay. So
in the movie,
yeah, in the movie, at the very end of the very first one, he says that he's Iron Man.
yeah, that was absolutely Robert Downey Jr.'s idea. He was like, "This is stupid. I'm just gonna say I'm Iron Man," and he did it, and that's the take they took.
I'll be honest. An excellent choice.
Yeah,
I think
I
think the correct choice.
I think that scene was setting up him, like, introducing his new bodyguard, Iron Man, and he was like, "This is dumb," and he just did it. Okay, so that means Fred has 2 points. He only needs 5 more to win.
So it's literally impossible.
Okay, your next question. This character went on the run from the law. This character went on the run from law enforcement and Black Widow after he was accused of killing the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hold on. I remember this being a thing.
Uh-huh.
I kind of...
This is absolutely a comic I talked about on the show.
I remember you talking about this. I just don't remember who it was. It's like... Is it Crossbones?
It is not Crossbones.
Okay.
Your hint. This character has mostly worked as a trainer for the henchmen of other various villains.
Crossbones was pretty close because it's Taskmaster, and he also has the skull face.
It is Taskmaster.
It's
Very
Taskmaster.
Good. Very good.
I remembered that, and
Okay.
Okay.
Fred, you have 4 points. Okay?
Out of a needed 7.
Out of a needed 7. So your bonus question worth 3 points. Are you ready? You cannot get help on this question. What do these characters have in common?
All right. So we've got Taskmaster, we've got Iron Man, and we've got Agent Venom. Oh, this is a trickier one. Are they S.H.I.E.L.D.? They're S.H.I.E.L.D. members, right? They're members of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
That is correct. You got 7 points, Fred. And you win. You won this week, Fred. Good job.
No, I did not. We did not win this week. We wouldn't have even won had it been 6 points to win.
That bonus is worth 3 points, Fred. You won. Good job.
All right.
Since the rules aren't really fixed, Brad can adjust them how he needs and sees fit.
He can just change them whenever he wants.
I would never. That's ridiculous. This is recorded. You can go back and listen. I am very consistent.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Is there anything else we need to talk about, or are we ready to talk about the person we're here to talk about today?
I think we're ready for Black Bolt.
I think so too.
We've only good Inhuman.
Yeah, we ran through this episode pretty quickly. All right. So let's talk about Black Bolt, otherwise known as Blackagar Boltagon.
Best name.
That insane name. It's
Best
nuts.
name.
What is this? Clearly written to fit Black Bolt. Okay. His defenses are 4-4-3 on both sides. He has 6 health on his healthy side, but he has 9 health on his injured side. He is 5 threat, size 2, and a medium mover. Hey, Brad, why don't you do his attack suite?
Okay, so on the front, he has 2 attacks. Energy Bolt, which is an energy attack, range 4, 6 dice, cost 0. After attack is resolved, gain power equal to damage dealt. Wild Pierce. Then he has Master Punch. It's a physical attack. It costs 3. It's range 3. It's 7 dice. Placed within one of the target after attack is resolved. And if it deals damage and the target size 4 or less after attack is resolved, this character may throw the target character short. And then after he flips, he gains a 3rd attack called Whisper. It's energy, beam 4, 6 cost, 10 dice.
Oof.
And after attack is resolved, the target character gains the stun special condition, Wild Stagger, and after the range tool is placed for this attack, destroy all size 2 or smaller interactive terrain features it overlaps.
Okay. Steven, why don't you do the first?
I can do the rest if you want. That's fine.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Okay.
Okay. So he has a leadership called King of the Inhumans, affiliation Inhumans. During each of your turns, one allied character may spend 1 power at any time. If it does, choose an allied character within 3 of it. The chosen character gains 1 power. He also has anti-graviton field. This is a reactive superpower. When this character is targeted by attack, it may use the superpower. Add 2 dice to this character's defense rules against this attack. Like I said, it costs 2 power. On his front side, he also has a superpower that's not available on his the back side of his card, and that is a reactive power called a King Serves His People. It costs 1 power. When another allied character within 2 is targeted by an attack, this character may use the superpower. This character becomes the target of the attack regardless of range and line of sight. And then he has 3 innate superpowers. First one is focus power. During the power phase, this character gains 1 additional power. Number 2 is Inhuman. This character may reroll 1 die in its attack or defense rolls. And last but not least, we have the power of flight, and he is immune to poison.
Okay. So I'll be honest. This guy changed quite a bit during the errata. They made him substantially better. I think that he absolutely rules.
Yeah,
I think that
he's the king.
He is. I think that one of the tactics for dealing with him before he was errated is to never attack him and never get him flipped. So he doesn't get. Was it the same deal? Did he have Whisper only on his backside previously?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so what they did to fix that is a king serves his people. It is the best bodyguard, I think, because it only costs 1 power.
Yep.
And so you can just make them attack you for 1 power. It's really good. And it forces them to attack him, give him power, and maybe do enough damage to flip him, which you want to have happen because Whisper is incredible. It is 6 power to cost to use, but this is a beam 4, 10 dice. And if you line it up correctly, you're going to kill your opponent's entire team. This is a team destroyer of an attack. It also does Wild Stagger. I mean, it's amazing. And it just automatically gives everyone stun who's under it. That's so good. I also want to talk about how good Master Punch is, but I'm gonna let Brad talk about him a little bit too.
So
Brad.
obviously Whisper's good, but Master Punch, That's a
Yeah.
pretty good spender all on its own. Place and then throw size 4. You can throw Hulk at the opponent. That's good.
Yeah.
You can soften people up with Master Punch and throwing Hulk, and then once he's flipped, whisper them to take him out. Like, he does a lot of work. If I were to ever play Inhumans, which we all know is never going to happen, it would be because of Black Bolt.
Yeah. Because he's an incredible model.
Yeah.
Steven, what are your thoughts here on Black Bolt?
Well, Fred, I'm going to do a little pushback because I think it's an actively bad plan to do the bodyguard so you flip so you get Whisper. I think that's a very bad plan.
I disagree with you, Steven.
Yeah, I disagree hardcore. Well, but make your case. Make your case.
You have to play the game. Okay. Part of this game is standing by objectives, and if you're on your injured side, you don't count. That's number one for me. 2, you have to have an opponent who's willing to oblige you with that beam, and if you're on a D scenario, it's not likely to happen. So,
I mean,
is it good in certain situations like ease on Demon Downtown? Yes, perfectly fine. But the validity of actively trying to get him to flip, I don't think is a very sound game plan.
I forward that if you can get 2 people underneath that beam, it depends on the 2 people, obviously, but it is worth doing. Like, what if you get Hulk and whoever their leader is under that beam?
That's pretty good.
What if you get Wong and Baron Mordo?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't do it in that circumstance.
But you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's trying to live the dream. I mean, everybody
Here's the
wants
thing,
to do
Steven. As he's bodyguarding and taking those hits that get him flipped, he is protecting your other pieces.
No, I understand that, but he's a 5-point bodyguard, and this is why She-Hulk doesn't work either, is because she's a 6-point bodyguard.
Yeah,
he does much more than bodyguard.
He's better than She-Hulk by like a big margin.
But the thing is, everybody, the lower the threat your bodyguard is, the better you feel about it, right? Because there are a lot of characters in this game that can go through 9 health in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're not wrong.
Reservation.
You're not wrong, but I also disagree because I think that you're not trying to play the game assuming that you're trying to kill this guy. Like if you are playing as him, you don't want to get him killed, obviously. But what a King Services people lets you do is it lets you make it so your opponent can't ignore him, which was one of the solutions to Black Bolt in the past. It makes it so that they have to attack him when you want them to.
This guy is very terrible on tall scenarios.
I don't agree. I think Master Punch is also good against like a tall list. Usually against a tall list, you're seeing a Hulk there. You're seeing a whatever goes with Hulk. You know, a
but what
Captain
do you do?
America.
What do you do? What do you do against a 3-wide team that's is on 15? Okay, this guy, if you're taking Inhumans, I don't think he does well.
I think he does.
Like,
I think he's fine.
No, he can't hit as hard as some of those big boys. That's the problem.
I mean, you're right. He can't. He can't hit like a truck one target. But he, if you're playing 15 points, then maybe your solution is to not take any 15 points in Inhumans.
Well, even if you're at 15 points, what's stopping you from playing Black Bolt, Hulk, and a 4-point Inhuman?
Well,
that's a pretty good list.
Yeah, Black Bolt, Hulk, and Medusa.
That's a pretty good list. That 15
That is
points.
pretty good.
Well, I guess I'm the curmudgeon today. I mean, I gave a D minus to Darkstar after all.
Let's talk about this affiliation, the King of the Inhumans. I think it's marginally useful. I think it's pretty low on the good affiliations track.
It doesn't make new power, which is
It just
tough.
moves it.
It just moves it, but sometimes
Yeah.
that's all you need.
Yeah.
And he used to absorb a lot of that power, and now he usually has some to give out.
Yeah. I think that it's not a great affiliation bonus. You don't normally play. I guess if you're playing Inhumans, you're doing it to play Black Bolt. You're doing it to play Medusa. Some of these really good Inhumans characters, right? And
Miss Marvel.
you're not trying to use this affiliate. You're not doing it because of the affiliation bonus.
People have tried to break this affiliation bonus several times, and there is good stuff turn 1 you can do with it. That's where it's really helpful, because it's really hard to get more than 1 extra power on somebody turn 1, except with this affiliation.
That's true.
Like, if you need 4 power on a character, you activate 3 of your characters before them. Oh, just 2. You only need 2. Activate 2 before to donate, and then on their activation, they grab 1 from someone. And you've got your 4 power on turn 1.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's what this is about. But still, it's not generating any new power. I don't think it's so. I think it's pretty low on the affiliation bonuses scale, in my opinion. And of course, he gets a reroll on every attack and defense roll, just like all Inhumans.
Yep.
And an amazing ability. I mean, it'll come up every single activation.
Yeah, I guess there's another thing I don't like on this guy is that, except when he gets off his master punch, he really doesn't have any action compression either.
I mean, yeah, you're right. The master punch is pretty good action compression. You know, I mean it's range 3 and you can place yourself within 1. Anyone who's played Rhino knows how good that is.
Yeah, but it doesn't cost Rhino any power.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I would argue that a 10 die range 4 beam is also pretty good action compression.
Yeah, well, you got to get him flipped, right?
Yeah, well, he can do that. It's pretty easy.
I guess my comparison is the fact that if we're just taking a pure stats and we're taking all our comic knowledge and, tendencies out of it, when the update came, he and Cable were 2 5 threats that got changes. And honestly, I would take Cable over this guy, if I were splashing any day of the week.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that is correct. I think that does not change the fact that this guy is great. Because that's like saying, hey, here's this amazing cake. Would you rather have this amazing pie?
So Fred, I could say right now, it's like, what would you grade Cable? And then I would expect you to grade this guy lower.
Yeah, I would grade Cable quite high is my answer.
So,
but yeah.
Anyway, so
all right,
more negativity coming out of me. I guess I'm focusing my inner Brandon.
So. No, I mean we need it. We need someone to talk. It's useful to have a differing opinion. Should we talk about some of the Inhuman specific tactics cards while we're talking about this guy? I think we probably should. So Black Bolt, I don't think he has any specific tactics cards to talk about that are his. but there are a couple Inhuman specific cards, and this would be the time to talk about them. Let's start at the very beginning with Attilan Rising. This is an Inhuman specific card, active. Any injured Inhuman character may play this card. All allied Inhuman characters gain 1 power for each allied injured Inhuman character. Okay, it's more power generation. It helps you the later in the game you play it, I guess, or the more injured of your team there is. Gain 1 for each. So if you have 3 injured Inhumans, all of your Inhumans gain 3 power. That could be quite a bit.
And
what do you guys think?
you have at least one Inhuman you're trying to get injured. So
We're on. Yep, exactly. So what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that, Steven?
I think you can play around this card very easily.
Play around it? Like, you mean as an opponent of an Inhuman player, or?
Correct, because you would target one character and daze them and flip them, and then to make sure that this card doesn't get any legs, you will then try to take that Inhuman off the table.
Okay, if this is a case where I'm gonna say what you would say in this situation, where if you're causing your opponent to focus attacks on characters that they would otherwise leave as injured, then you're controlling the battlefield in a way, and that's maybe good. I don't think that this card is needed to play around. Honestly.
But if I saw this card in somebody else's list and I realize that you have 5 characters on the table and I take out 20% of your list, I'm fine with that. Okay. Just so you don't get a use out of this card.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move. Or Brad, do you have anything you want to say about this card?
I don't think this card's good enough to go to all that effort to play around it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lot of effort for what could be.
I don't think this card's good enough
power
to get played regularly. So
yeah. All right, the next card is Inhuman Royal Family. It is an Inhumans specific active card. Any number of allied Inhuman characters may spend 2 power each to play this card. Once this round, each character that spent power to play this card may re-roll any number of dice in one of their attack or defense rolls. This is, I think this is great. I think this is very good.
2 power is a lot.
It's 2 power for any reroll in like, imagine on a Whisper. I mean, for a Whisper, you probably want to have 9 power at the start of your activation when you're planning to do a Whisper, so that you can Master Punch into position. But still,
this is kind of redundant with the Inhumans that have the reroll 1 defense or attack.
Yeah, you might be right on that. Like, if they were already getting 1.
I mean, if you're doing this
but
on
like
Quicksilver or Beast,
think
it might
about
be worth it.
Think about Baron Zemo. Like, he has,
but he's not it.
No. I'm not saying to play this card. I'm saying
okay.
He re-rolls 1, and boy, do you want to re-roll any as well.
Yeah, you love the Master Swordsman ability.
Yeah. He's already re-rolling 1, but
I have a question. It says attack or defense rolls. So you only get this once, right? Either Correct. For an attack or a defense.
Once per round.
Yeah, so it's not as good as I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it is 2 power.
Did we lose Fred again?
Okay. No, I'm still here. I'm just
2's a lot of power.
Okay.
2's a lot of power.
Yeah, it is a lot of power.
I don't think this card makes your 5. Maybe your 10, but not your 5.
Okay. All right. And then the last card here that is Inhuman specific is Terragenesis. Any Inhuman character may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose an enemy character holding a civilian token within range 3 of this character and roll 4 dice. Deal 1 damage to the enemy character for each crit, wild, or hit rolled. And the enemy character is dazed. If the enemy character is dazed or KO'd by this damage, you score 2 victory points. Okay. So this is an interesting card because it is specifically civilian tokens. It's not like it has no effect on a struggle for the cube or fear grips. It only works when it's a civilian token that they're holding, like say the spider infected. But it's 2 victory points if you can take them out. If they are close to death, if you have an opponent who has 2 characters who are holding spider infected and they each have like 2 or 1 health left, and you use this and you get 4 victory points out of it, that is a swing in the game.
An enemy holding a civilian token.
Oh, it's just an enemy. Yeah. It's not okay. So it's only you can only get 2 victory points out of it. Still,
well,
I think the 2 victory points is worth it.
Technically 3 if you pick the civilian up.
True. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think that 3 victory points is worth 3. 2 victory points and a shot at 2 victory points is worth taking a card. This is a card you will likely bring if it is a scenario that plays civilian tokens.
Yeah, this card's great. This card's great. Right. This card is worth playing around as both players. Like if your opponent has this or if you have it. Like I've seen people re-roll a hit so they didn't accidentally kill someone, so then they could then play Terragenesis and do 1 damage and get their 2 victory points. It's worth it.
That's top tier gaming right there.
Right. Do you know why this is card is targeted for civilian tokens?
Terragenesis is when like a person turns into an Inhuman, right?
Well, that's sort of it. But the other thing is that the other extracts, the assets, they can damage you. Some of them.
Okay, like the cubes damage you.
Exactly. So this card would be easily set up at that point in time.
If it were,
I think it's more of a flavor reason, but
yeah, I think so too. It's because it doesn't make sense for the cube that you're holding to turn into an Inhuman,
right,
and bite you.
But I'm saying, if you have 3 cubes on you, you take 3 damage, and you only have 1 left, and somebody rolls up with this be pretty backbreaking.
Yeah, you're right. That would be a bad situation to find yourself in. Or I've got a question. I don't have it open in front of me.
Paranoias are not civilians.
You knew exactly what I was going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
You knew exactly what I was going to ask. Okay.
Oh, now we lost Fred.
Oh boy. I think I know what I'm getting Fred for Christmas.
Something to fidget with so he doesn't unplug his mic.
I can't believe I'm having this much trouble. This is a problem. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, that's okay. Well, we got to give this guy a letter grade. We're gonna be. This is a divided episode, I think, because I feel like Brad and I are both gonna be high, and Steven's gonna be a lot lower than us. I'm gonna give Black Bolt. I'm giving him an A-, and that's I feel like I could go higher, but I'm giving him an A-. All right, Brad, what are you gonna give to Black Bolt?
He could get splashed, but I don't think it's gonna happen very often. He's a solid piece. His leadership's fine. I think a B+ is good.
Okay. And Steven, what are you gonna give him?
D+.
Did you say D+?
C.
C. Okay. Okay. I
C+.
was gonna say, good lord. Okay. C+. All right. Okay. That's our take on Black Bolt. I think that we're pretty divided. I will ask Brandon what he would give him when he is next on the pod.
Yeah, I'm
But
very curious what Brandon gives him.
yeah. All right. Well, Brad, do you have any comic books that feature Black Bolt that you can stomach to read?
Okay,
And
so it is worth noting that the main reason I hate Inhumans is that they tried to genocide the X-Men. Well, the mutants in general. While that was happening, Black Bolt and Medusa, I think, were divorced. He was not in charge. He was off tending bar somewhere and had no idea what was going on. It was Medusa causing this. So Black Bolt is innocent of mutant genocide. So if there's any Inhuman that I can stomach, as you said, it's Black Bolt.
okay.
And I've got two stories.
What about Quicksilver?
Quicksilver's an asshole. Okay. The first story is Thor 148 and 149 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. He is not in the main story for these Thor issues. In the backup story in this run of Thor, they're telling the origins of the Inhumans in general and specific Inhumans as well. And these two issues are the origin of Black Bolt. So he went through Terrigenesis as a baby, and one of the powers he got, because he has more than just the voice thing, was the voice thing. And when he started to cry, he like destroyed their family home, and so they put him in a soundproof like room where he grew up without any friends or any Inhuman interactions until he could control his voice. And
man, that's nuts.
And then they finally let him out to meet everybody. Yeah. And
is he okay? Like, is he an insane character?
He had I guess now we would call it like an AI hologram companion thing that like taught him and was his friend or whatever, but
okay.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, you would think, right? From a baby to a teen. No interaction with people.
How did he not immediately kill his family when he started crying? Yeah, you're right.
He only survived because he put up a force field bubble, because that's one of his powers.
Okay.
He only needs the one. I don't know why they gave him so many. Okay, second story. War of Kings. This is by Dan Abnett and Annie Lanning. Yes, Fred, again, that Dan Abnett.
I think I do that every single time.
Yeah.
It's Dan Abnett.
It's that one. So you already know it's a good story, right?
Yep.
The Inhumans have decided that they aren't going to take the Kree shit anymore, and they have fucked off to space to take over their empire. So Black Bolt is in charge of all the Kree. In another part of the universe, Cyclops' long-lost brother, Gabriel Summers, also known as Vulcan, has taken over the Shi'ar Empire. This is very shortly after Cyclops finds out he even exists. And these two empires are going to war to take each other over. And it comes down to Black Bolt versus Vulcan for the fate of the universe.
What are Vulcan's powers?
He can absorb any type of energy, and his
Like sonic energy?
yeah, and
Okay.
return it tenfold. He is
Okay.
as close to a reality manipulator as you can get without being a reality manipulator. He's pretty powerful.
Okay. Well, that sounds like
Fred, you really want to know who won the fight, didn't you?
I do, and I was gonna ask, and I didn't because I know that you're not gonna answer the
No, I'm
question.
not. Read the story.
All right. Well, thank you, Brad, for those two recommendations. Steven, I know
Yeah.
this is not your normal position, but do you feel like you could come up with an affiliation where you think that Black Bolt would really do well?
Well, considering that three of the people on his team are actually part of this team, also, I would say She-Hulk A-Force.
Oh, okay.
Uh, got some double bodyguarding going on there, right? But Miss Marvel, Medusa, and Crystal are all in that affiliation. So you could go into A Force and then with those three do a Inhuman splash if you needed to. So not a bad option. And Lockjaw is always a good piece to bring along to help out. So
He's a good boy.
he's a good boy. That's right.
He also
Lockjaw,
was not involved in the mutant genocide. I just want to point out he was hanging out
it's
with Miss Marvel.
it's hard to hold the dog. Okay,
Fred, do
but
you
yeah.
know the origin of the dog?
No, I have no
You're
idea.
gonna remember this when it's a trivia later. He wasn't born a dog. He was a human that went through Terrigenesis and turned into a dog.
Oh my god.
But
All right then.
but yeah, I think A Force is a good home. Um, Especially since the leaderships are sort of similar in the
Yeah.
fact that in A Force when you get damage you get power, so it's adjacent, I should say. So
Yeah.
I believe A Force is where you would splash him and you know have a good time.
All right then. Okay. The only thing that's left for this episode is my non sequitur recommendation. So there's a no-brainer here that I've already recommended. So I can't do it again. Uh because Anson Mount is the person who played Black Bolt in the cinematic universe, and he is in a fantastic Star Trek series that I love, but I've already recommended Strange New Worlds, so I can't do that. So instead, I'm going to just recommend a movie that I watched recently that also has a main character who cares about a dog. I don't really know Lockjaw and Black Bolt's like Lockjaw is, since he was a person, he's not like a his dog now, right? He's a person who is just in the form of a dog.
He is, and he mostly hangs out with Crystal until Miss Marvel's a thing. Then he hangs out with Miss Marvel.
Okay. Well, in this movie, uh, this is a movie called Sisu that I watched recently. It is a crazy bananas action movie, and it is a ton of fun, like an absolute ton of fun. So in this movie, it follows a Finnish commando during World War II who retires and is trying to just he's in Lapland looking for gold, and he finds a bunch of gold. This is the very beginning of the movie, so I'm not spoiling anything. And then the Nazis, as they are retreating from Lapland, are they steal his gold, and it's about him trying to get his gold back. Uh, it is a fantastic movie. It's a ton of fun to watch, and
This
it
this
involves him.
sounds vaguely like another movie where with a guy and his dog, but he didn't lose his gold.
You talking about John Wick?
Yeah.
In this movie, I remember the trailers. They specifically said the dog doesn't die.
Oh, yeah.
It
Okay.
specifically says the dog doesn't die in the trailer, but it is very John Wicky in just like the extreme violence of it and the one man wrecking crew-ness of it. But also, like, the main character has almost no lines. I think he speaks 2 lines in the entire movie, and
Who
they're
is
at the
it?
very end of the movie. What?
Who is it that plays the main character?
Oh gosh, I don't know off the top of my head. It's I believe that he is a Finnish actor, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I should look this up while since the question has been asked. But while I'm in the process of looking this up, the word sisu is a Finnish word that doesn't really translate very well, but it essentially means being unwilling to give up in even the most extreme circumstances. And you'll see this character is unwilling to give up if you watch it. The main, oh my gosh, why Jorma Tomila is the main character. That's probably Jorma Tomila.
Yes, probably.
But yeah, it's great. It's a ton of fun. It's only an hour and like 20 minutes too, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. So you should watch it. That's it. Thank you everyone for joining us today on this episode of Crit Hit Wild. If you have the opportunity, put Black Bolt on the table. I think it's probably worth doing. And otherwise, until next week, have fun playing MCP.